we are going to talk about reading and writing variables in JavaScript. This variable means symbols, and what is symbols? That has been described here. Backup page recommend, or it has been described that how to read a variable here. So this is a symbol expression, and we create a symbol and then we call readx method on that symbol, and if that value is okay, then we have that value, otherwise we handle that error. And in write case, it is exactly same with extra parameter what we are going to write to that symbol. So that's the way at least it has been described. So now we are reading one variable here or one symbol, and but if we have many symbol to read write, then how it will be, that is that focus. I have made one simple PLC program with three variables. One is motor status, door at home, and then we have another one, motor output. If these two are true, then we are allowed to write this motor output. So how this code will be? So I have written with that concept. That code is here. First I read that door at home, and then I get a callback, and if that value is true, then I read motor status, and if that motor status true, then I write motor output to true. And then we have lots of handle error, and this is final code. So how can we use this in our, let's say, with our simple HMI that I am going to show. So I have made one simple program ready, and that is here. So we have three variables, and there is nothing else in this PLC program. I have mapped this, and also I have an HMI, and we have two control text box and one button. And in text box we have actually we have linked with this motor output that will show true or false, or if we press on this button, then it will execute the code what we have written behind this. So I have already made it ready, and what we are just reading those variables, and finally when we have written that motor output, and if everything goes okay, then we have that value for writing that status, and then we want to display that status as a formatted text in that text block. So that's like we are doing. So if that value is 0, if this value is 0, then it will be like write status and then 0 in that text box. So let's try this. Let's try with this live view. Now this value is false. Let's log in that PLC program, and motor output, it is false, so we set it to true, and that is true. So our program is communicating at least. And now let's put it back again. So now it is false, and I set that button, and it is true. And you see that it did not show this write status to value, and the reason we shall explain later. And now I press again, it will be, and the reason, if you know the reason, then you can comment, but I shall explain later. This looks like working how it should work. But now we are going to improve that code like this, because in software they sometimes tell it's like callback hell. It's not so nice looking code, and instead of writing like this way, we write it like this way. So same thing, but we shall use async and await keyword, and that we are coming very soon how we do that. Here we have written two functions, read from server and write to server. So, and then we are passing a symbol expression, and then we are returning a promise object, and that promise object was introduced in around 2015, so it's nothing new. And in that promise object creation, we create that symbol, and from that symbol expression that we are passing, and then we call readx. And if, and in readx it takes one function, and if everything goes fine, then it will call with that data. So here we are passing that value, what data was passed by the framework, then this will be, we will get that result in that from where we are calling this method, so that will be resolved. But if something goes wrong, then it will call reject with that error code. So it depends, in this case we are passing value and error, but it's up to us what we want to pass. And write to server is exactly same, but it takes extra parameter, what value we are going to write, and we are passing it to that write text. Again, if this error is 0, then we are passing that resolved error. It means like it will be 0. Otherwise we just pass, or we just call reject and with that error. So if we pass only data here, we have to do analysis in our other part of that program. So these two are bulletproof code. So let's use these two functions in our code behind file. So I am adding a code behind file. So I have added a code behind file and pasted that code here. Code behind file is very good place for these types of case, because code behind file is loaded in early stage of that application startup. So that means like this function will be available when we need to call. So now let's modify this code. I mean, what we have written. So we can comment out like this, or if we want to edit, then it's fine. So let's edit this. We have made this function and read write all variables. So read write, and then we are defining that function here. So, and also we have a comment here that will be printed. If something goes wrong, then it will be easy to identify where or in which part of that program it has problem. So this way, this is very important. If we have many of these types of JavaScript here and there, then it's very difficult when we have a bigger program. And we are passing this one is actually like this parameter, and then it will be, we are calling this read from server. Since we are using promise, then we need to wait before this call. And if we don't use, then we have to manipulate in other way that probably we are not going to talk, because that is more like JavaScript stuff. I have described those in this page. Yeah, those are here. If you want to read, then please go ahead. So here is that page. Okay, so here we are using async also, because if we have used a wait, then we must use async, and then those functions are enclosed in this try block, and then we are catching if something failed here. For example, these variables are not name are not correct, and then it will throw exception, then it will come here. And so async and await, they goes hand in hand. So whenever we have async function, then we have a await. Of course, we can call also normal function here as usual, like we are calling, for example, getting. This is not async function because it can be called from anywhere. So let's try this. Basically, we have this code behind file, and we have modified this set motor output, and let's see. Let's log in again. We see, and now let's test if we are breaking anything. Okay, it is true, so it looks it is working. And now we press set motor output, and now it is again true, but we saw for a moment it was showing this text, and now then it went back to true. So what could be the reason? And if I press it here, then it will be like this. So now you can make a comment. What do you think? A summary of this experiment is, when we have only 3 variables, then we have these types of code, and or if we write or if we use that promise function, then it's little bit more elegant, and those are easy to debug here. And so in I am using these types of mechanism when we are reading and writing variable. And though we need to have an extra code here in code behind file, but these can be reused to read write many variables. So this is not only for reading those 3 variables, because in real HMI program or PLC program we have much more variable than these 3. So we do lots of read write different variable, and then these can be used all the time. These are really reusable code in our HMI. Yeah, thank you for watching this, and consider subscribing this channel. That of course help us. Thank you very much.